let's go boom boom before pizza. It was just like so trashy and gross, and she was just kind of laughing and kind of shrugging him off. All right, let's get cozy, shall we? Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Ali here, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about something a little bit controversial. Sex workers and sex tourism. Now, the reason why I am bringing this up is because I spent about 5 months living in Thailand in the last year, and out of curiosity and fun, Gab and I decided to participate in some sexual experiences, and I've been sharing those experiences with you guys online just to, dive into the funny, awkward first times for us. And people are curious, people want to know. I know I definitely am curious when people share sexual adventures and stories and just relationship stuff, what happens behind closed doors and that kind of thing with me. So yeah, I know it's a little bit controversial. And I'm not coming at you today in this video with a very strong one-sided opinion. I definitely have some opinions and thoughts, but I don't feel like I always have all of the information. Those opinions and thoughts will definitely change over time with the more things that I learn, the more information that I have, the experiences that I have, the relationships that I develop. And all those things will definitely have an effect on my opinions, on my ethics, my morals, and just how I continue to navigate the world, navigate individuals, navigate relationships, navigate these kinds of experiences, and so on. It's really just sort of, I guess, opening up the platform, raising some questions. If you have information that you feel would be valuable for me or this platform to learn, please drop them in the links below, because I am by no means a know-it-all when it comes to this area. So yeah, all right, shall we get started? First and foremost, I just wanted to cover why someone would hire a sex worker to begin with. So sex workers in general, wherever you are around the world as a sex worker, why somebody would hire you. There are many different reasons, and most of them don't always mean you're creepy, you're weird, you're gross, and yeah, all right. So reason number one is maybe somebody is really, really looking for a true, no strings attached kind of relationship that requires no kind of emotional maintenance. Another reason may be you want to hire a sex worker because you're trying to get over a dry spell. Or it could be because you are insecure about something sexually or whatnot, and you want to hire a professional to help you work through these issues. Or it could be some trauma, something like that. And again, it doesn't always have to be sexual. It can always be more emotional as well, just in terms of practicing communicating with someone and so on. Or it could be you're looking for some companionship to soothe some feelings of loneliness and so on. Maybe you're craving some physical touch that you can't really get at home because, I don't know, maybe you don't have a partner, you have trouble connecting with people, maybe you have a disability and you're trying to satisfy some kind of physical touch, some intimacy, something like that. A lot of the reasons that I've just mentioned to you, you can kind of picture somebody in your head. I'm picturing somebody in my head, and they're not weird, they're not gross, they're not creepy. I think there's a big stigma against people who hire sex workers for whatever reason. Don't get me wrong, there are obviously people that hire sex workers for other reasons. I don't know, like sex addiction, power, BDSM, like for other strange reasons maybe that aren't very kosher, I guess you would say. I'm trying to focus on the positive here, okay? Because there's always a negative, but there's always a positive as well. Now, those are some reasons as to why somebody might hire a sex worker. The other thing I want to talk about is if you are going to hire someone for this kind of work, how to do it ethically, especially if you plan on traveling to areas in the world where people who are sex workers, for example, are in this profession not necessarily by choice, but maybe more by desperation. And maybe I'm crazy to think that there is a way to do this ethically. Going to Thailand and participating in the sex tourism and stuff, maybe that's just me being crazy and that there is no way to do this ethically at all, because if you participate in sex tourism, you are just also promoting other more underground things like the sex trafficking and the pedophilia and like all that kind of stuff. I don't know, guys. This is a big question mark. Drop your comments below and let's get a conversation going about it. But yeah, I do understand that I come from a place of privilege and that hiring a sex worker, let's say in North America or in Europe, can be very different than hiring a sex worker in, let's say, a place like Thailand. If we look at North America and Europe, let's say, and again, I don't know the exact statistics. I'm kind of pulling this out of my head, what I've read, what I've heard, what I've seen. So again, correct me if I'm wrong. If you have better information than me, which, let's be honest, some of you probably do, please drop it in the comments below. But in more Western countries, people who participate in the sex work industry, I wouldn't say all of the time, but often have a choice, okay? So people are willingly, I'm not saying all, but there's definitely a community of individuals who actively participate in this profession of sex workers. And they have a choice not to, but they do because for whatever reasons, either because they're doing it for the money, of course, they really like sex, they really have sex positive attitudes, they really feel like they are providing a positive experience for their clients and so on. You know, I'm obviously talking about sex workers that work for a legitimate company or work for themselves and, you know, not people that are unfortunately, let's say, victims to pimps and so on, which is a very different thing. I'm talking about the people who have a choice, who choose to be a sex worker because they really enjoy that line of work. But let's say if they didn't want to, they would be able to have many other different opportunities and choices if they chose to do something else. And when you look at a place like Thailand, most of the girls or most of the people that work in the sex industry there that you see on the street, okay, because I'm sure and I'm aware that there's like a whole bunch of underground stuff going on that you don't see, but the stuff that is, you know, there for the tourists and so on, a lot of these girls come from one of the poorest parts of Thailand. It's a region called Isan. And well, they do have some choices, but they are very limited. So often the choices involve working in agriculture or working in a factory. And let's be honest, I don't think that's very appealing for a lot of people, and it's not very well paid. But there's the sex industry, and it is much better paid. Yes, you are selling your body and you are potentially getting yourself into some very dangerous situations. But for this culture and these people, it seems that that is often a better avenue for them in order to make money quick so that they can leave the industry quickly and go back home, give money to their families, their children, and so on, and eventually, you know, start up a business on their own. It's crazy to me that prostitution is illegal in Thailand because, I mean, the sex industry there is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's crazy, crazy. And the fact that it's not legalized or there are no regulations and that the country and the government is profiting off of this industry without giving any kind of rights, social support, benefit, government support, and so on to the people participating in the industry is just like, it's wild to me. And then, you know, you get into the whole just like prostitution in general. It's such a taboo subject, but it's the oldest profession in the world and it's just so frowned upon still everywhere. I mean, it's still very much illegal in the United States, although I think Nevada is the only place in some counties where it is legal. I'm not quite sure about that. Canada, for example, prostitution is illegal. Well, you're allowed to sell sex, but you're not allowed to buy it, something like that, which is like kind of contradictory. I don't know. Honestly, the prostitution laws, sex working laws, it's just crazy across the board. It varies so much. There's so much nuance to it. It's such a murky, gray area, and it's going to be ongoing because I don't think we're getting rid of prostitution anytime soon. Then how can we move forward in doing it in an ethical way? I guess countries that have caught on to this are the ones that legalized it, like in Australia, in the Netherlands. There's a list on the internet somewhere. That being said, even if it's illegal in Thailand, let's say, obviously it's very much tolerated because it's literally thrown out on the street everywhere. You have places in Bangkok like Nana Plaza and Soy Cowboy where it's just like sex, 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 sex. Everything you want, anything you need, it's there. They're selling it. And yeah, I'm not doing this video to, I guess, justify what I did was right, because I know that by us, let's say, promoting sex tourism and participating in it, that we may not be moving forward in the world and, let's say, trying to stop and abolish what's going on. But from another perspective, I was very conscious about doing it ethically. Like, I don't even know if that's a thing. I think there are ways to go about that. Like, these girls are working in the industry. They're there to make money, as opposed to, let's say, North America and Europe and so on, where there are more choices. A lot of these girls in Thailand, although they may have some choices like, you know, agriculture work or factory work and so on, they do it out of desperation because, unfortunately, like the sex industry there, it pays better. It is more dangerous, although I don't know how much more dangerous it is than, let's say, working in a factory. There are, like, I don't know what the stats are in terms of people dying and getting injured in factory work versus sex work. I'm not sure what that is, but you know what I mean. And first of all, the government should absolutely intervene somewhere in terms of providing safety, health benefits, social security, things like that for these workers that are just providing so much money for the country. So they're working, and how you as a client, let's say, if you want to participate, how you can make it a positive experience for them as they will make it for you, right? Because I would see it the same way if I was going to hire a sex worker in Canada or the United States or whatever. I would have the same kind of, you know, respect and empathy, and make sure that expectations are clear on both sides and make sure everybody's comfortable. Because for me personally, I really couldn't participate sexually with someone if the other person was just kind of like not into it. There absolutely has to be some kind of respect. There needs to be some kind of back and forth. There needs to be some conversation. Like, I don't know how it is for men, but for me as a woman and as myself, I need to have some banter. You know, I need to get to know the person a little bit. And sometimes that can just be a few clever words of exchange and get a sense of their energy, right? Because if I'm not feeling someone energy, I'm not gonna feel comfortable having sex with that person. And like Gab and I have been in situations before, not necessarily with sex work, where we possibly had a opportunity to be with them sexually, and that just like the energy wasn't there, you know. And I could have pushed for it, but I've always was like, nah, you know what, Gab, like I'm not really feeling this. Let's not go there. And yeah, I don't know if any of this is making sense right now. I don't know if I'm offending anyone right now, although it's kind of hard not to offend people these days, so I apologize. I'm just trying to be honest here, and again, let you guys know that I don't know everything, and I am a growing human and I'm learning every day. So talking about doing things ethically, I guess, you know, looking back to the experiences that we had, we always made sure that if we were with someone, that there were some pleasant conversation, you know, getting to know the person a little bit, their name, where they're from. Like, Gab is such a great conversationalist. I'm usually a little bit shy and I don't really like to ask questions too much because I'm a little bit introverted, but he always asks questions like, hi, where are you from? Nah, nah, nah. Like, do you have any kids? And they are so open about their lives. If you just ask them questions, they'll tell you where they're from, they'll tell you their kids' names, they'll show you pictures of their kids, like they'll tell you their whole life story. And they all have stories, like they are humans after all, just like me and Gab and whatever. But I'm just saying, like, talk to your sex worker. I know some people are like, oh, you know, I just want to like get it in and whatever. Again, I'm talking about how if you want to do this ethically, I guess. So we usually get to know them and always ask questions like, what are you comfortable with? What are you not comfortable with? I'm usually the question asker in that sense than Gab. I guess maybe because it comes more naturally to me. I'm more conscientious of the woman that we're with. So I'll always ask, like, are you comfortable kissing? Are you comfortable with this? And, you know, and they'll say like, no, yes, no. And it's like, okay, no problem. Like, that's cool. I never want to pressure anyone to do anything. Even though I know we're paying somebody, the last thing I want to do is, even if I'm paying them, to be like, I'm paying you, so like, you're going to do this and you're going to do what I want. That's such a turn off for me. But again, everybody's different, but I would never want to put somebody in a situation like that. I wouldn't want to be put in a situation like that. And I guess just be clear of like boundaries and expectations. And the girls too that we've been with anyways are very nice and ask me, which I always appreciate, you know, is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I do that to your boyfriend? And so sometimes I'll say yes, sometimes I'll say no. Most of the time it's yes. And then, you know, if we had sex or whatever, then afterwards there's the aftercare, right? So it's not just like, all right, goodbye, like here's your cash, get out, unless that's what they want. I mean, they are a free person, so if they are up for just leaving after and they're like, okay, thanks, bye, then it's like, oh, okay, bye. You know, we're never that pressed for anyone to leave. We usually like to chill after and talk and debrief, and again, like get to know the person more, and they just tell us about their lives and their work and so on. Sometimes it's a challenge with the language barrier because there are for sure some people that don't speak very good English, but we have absolutely navigated that with Google Translate and a phone. If you got Google Translate and you got a phone, then conversation is just easy peasy, right? So yeah, this is a little bit of a vulnerable share because again, I know it's very controversial and I'm still figuring out how I feel about it, you know? Sometimes I felt a little strange. I'm like, is this right? Is this not right? I don't know. How do I feel? Like, when Gab and I went to the BJ bar together and, you know, all the women were sitting there in front and looking at us, like I felt so strange being on the other side of that as a woman as well. So I'm still figuring out how I feel about all of it, and that's it. But I can say like we had some really good experiences and the people we met were incredible. And I've also dabbled in the sex worker world a bit. I mean, really not. I did it twice with the same person, but it was for money. I was very curious to try it and kind of know how it felt. I was sort of in my very like sexual exploration phase. I was single and I was like, oh, this could be fun, you know, and the whole negotiating, figuring out what to charge as a non-professional and things like that. I still wasn't sure how I felt about it. It felt pretty nice to get some cash afterwards. I mean, the guy was really nice and, you know, we had fun and we saw each other twice. That's the only time that I ever participated in paid sex work. But it was a good experience for me. Also, one last thing that I wanted to bring up was the difference in sexual mindset when it comes to different cultures, right? Because I think when we're talking about sex, we are thinking in our own culture and we forget about how it is upon the rest of the world. We apply everything we feel and know about sex onto other cultures, but that is just not correct. Not a good thing to do, is to impose your views and so on other cultures. The world is a big place. The world is a very big place. And about 60%, more than half of my audience on YouTube come from the United States. You could tell from a lot of comments on there that there's a lot of conservative views when it comes to sex. And, you know, some of the things that I talk about, people are just like, oh my God, shame, like just shame, 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 shame. Very conservative. But it's very different in different parts of the world. In Thailand, and probably this view on sexuality in Thailand has developed history because it has such a big sex tourism industry there, but it has a very nonchalant view on sex. And again, this is what I've heard, what I've seen. I don't want to say it's right or wrong, so drop in the comments below what you think. But Thai people have a very relaxed, mechanical, clinical view of sex almost, and they don't really attach a lot of emotion to it. Whereas we do, you know, sex is attached a lot to emotion and marriage and monogamy and like all that stuff. But in Thailand, it's just very different. They joke more about sex. They see it more as funny and playful, even though in sexual acts they're a little bit more mechanical, I'd say, because the kind of sex that we've had there, it was different than back home in the sense that there's no like dirty talk or this. Like sometimes people don't even kiss. Kissing is like not a thing there. It's just very like P in the V, and then it's like it's done kind of thing. It's just like it's sex. Sex is sex, whatever. Like they talk about it, they make jokes about it, and it's kind of like whatever, you know. So yes, I am here to remind you, I guess, that if you are going to participate in this kind of activity, whether it's in Thailand, whether it's in Canada, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in Europe, whether it's anywhere in the world, but I guess more so in places where it's more exploited, then to be mindful, to think about how you can go about it in the most ethical way. Again, these are human beings. Treat them and talk to them with respect. They are providing you a great service, and you want to give them as much of a sex positive experience as they are giving you, right? At our hotel, which is on Soi 8, it's such a great hotel. We love it there. We stay there every time we go to Bangkok. It's become like our second home. There's a little massage place right in front. It looks like a normal massage place. They have the foot spas and everything like that, but they do happy endings. I've never seen anybody sit in one of those chairs and get a foot massage, okay? It's always empty. And there's always like 10 girls sitting in front. They all got these cute little, really nice blue skirts on. And they're always just chilling and eating and on their phone and laughing and talking and trying to get clients to come in. But yeah, they do happy endings there. I've never been. They always ask Gab and I to go, but we never do. We'd rather just like chill and be friends with them because we have other places that we like. And it's kind of cool just to chill with them, you know? So in front of our hotel, there's a little table and there's 2 chairs, and it's a great spot to sit for some TV and just chatting with people, because if you sit there by yourself, there's always like a random stranger that's gonna come and sit next to you and start chatting with you and so on. But you also just get to sit and, you know, watch the girls and talk with them, and they're making jokes with me and I'm making jokes with them, and sometimes I would even sit with them and they would give me a menu and I would like help them try and get people to come in the shop, and they would always make jokes about Gab and giving him like a happy ending, and me too, and they're like, oh, you come. I'm like, no, it's okay, like we're just we're chilling, you know. Such nice girls. They have such funny sense of humors and everything. And one day there was this guy who was so drunk. He was wasted, this older man. He worked for like an embassy or something, I don't know. But he was so drunk and he was being so obnoxious. And there was an issue with one of the girls because we saw him kind of getting heated a little bit. So, you know, Gab and I went to go sit outside and sort of watch what was going on. And he kept talking to one of the girls and she was ignoring him. And it's really rare that you see that. So I was like, what did he do? It must have been bad, because for the girl to be like, fuck you, like I'm not serving you, must have been bad. But he was super obnoxious, and long story short, it turns out that he wanted to go in, but they asked him to pay first and he didn't want to pay first. And then he was being like such an ass, just causing havoc and yelling and being annoying. And he wanted one specific girl and she was just not having it with him, and she kept ignoring him and the guy wouldn't go away. And so Gab and I were just sort of sitting outside, because I also thought at one point maybe he would, I don't know, grab her or something. And I was like, F that, like if that happens, like me or Gab are like going in to save this poor woman, you know? But then like nothing happened, but he just stayed around there, and then he started talking to us, because one of those drunk guys that was talking to everybody. And he ended up chatting with us, and then he ordered the pizza for the girls. Like he just wouldn't leave. And there was one girl, she was an older woman that worked there. She was the coolest. I really liked her. And she managed to, you know, just kind of calm him down and like get his temper down and sort of keep him in check. So then he was like, oh, you know, like, can we go boom boom? Like, let's go boom boom before pizza. It was just like so trashy and gross. And she was just kind of laughing and kind of shrugging him off. But that being said, going back to doing things ethically and just being respectful and giving a sex positive experience, don't be disrespectful, be kind, be nice, okay? It's not an easy job. Some may argue that it's easier than others. Depends what kind of mindset you're coming from. But these are human beings just like you and me, and they are providing a very great service. So be nice, be kind, be respectful. And I guess just try and do the best that you can. Anyways, that was a really long video. I'm sorry if you got bored watching it, but I felt like it was important to address, especially as I move forward, sharing more stories with you guys, because I do enjoy sharing stories with you guys. And I want to create a space as well where people can feel comfortable sharing their stories and not feel judged and so on. So yeah, that's it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Speaking of stories, if you made it to the end of this video, which is super long, if you want to hear about some more stories of mine on my Patreon, which you can click on the link below this video, I usually upload extra detail stories and things like that on there of stuff that I've shared on YouTube, but you get a little bit of extra juicy content on there. So if you want to support me as a creator, if you want to support this channel, you can definitely check out the Patreon. And if you are currently a member, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for making this a safe space for me to come at you guys and talk about things like this, because it can be a little bit uncomfortable sometimes. You obviously don't want to say the wrong thing, but I don't know. We gotta practice talking about it, right? And sharing information and knowledge and so on. So that's it, friends. Je vous aime.